Part 38. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shiyu Bulletin Chigwa. Chapter 372. The ghost painting was out of control. This was an accident. Looking at the huge scroll floating over Qingxi, Shen Jian frowned slightly. At this moment, a painting appeared in the scroll. It is not an ink painting of a woman as a ghost painting, but a city map. Same ink drawing style. Spreading thousands of miles. The entire painting shows the face of a city. As time goes by, the city in the painting becomes clearer. It can be vaguely seen that the city in the painting is turning upside down, as if it is about to descend to Qingxi, leaning down. If the ghost paintings continue to launch attacks, it won't take long for the entire Qing city to merge with the world in the paintings. At that time, the game dungeon that comes to the real world will no longer be a small dungeon area, but an entire city. A few days ago, hundreds of copies of the game arrived together. This is the third invasion of thriller games. The first two times, Shen Jian crashed the copy of the game that came to reality because he received the news in advance. And this third time, thriller games chose to bring a copy of the game to a city together. I have to say, generous. Shen Jian's eyes were solemn, but also a little excited. If he controls the ghost paintings in a city, wouldn't the whole city's ghosts belong to him? Think of this. Shen Jian became even more excited. He was worrying about how to unlock the 18th level of hell, but he didn't expect that something would fall from the sky. A conservative estimate is that the city can support at least 4 or even 5 ghosts and gods. Half the performance is accomplished. Shen Jian felt his heartbeat speed up. Looking at the huge picture in the sky, there is a sweetness like meeting first love. Soon, Shen Jian came to the suburbs based on the location mentioned by Jian Quan. The outskirts of Qingxi. A corner of a strange gray city came into view. There is no covering around. It can be easily seen that this corner of the gray street appeared here out of thin air. It exuded a strange and penetrating coldness. Mr. Shen, you are here. We have been guarding here for 2 hours. During this period, many evil spirits ran out. However, the level of terror was not high. They have been suppressed by us. But as time goes by, the terror level of the evil spirits that came out has increased. It's getting more and more terrifying, and now all the Xingyi level ghosts are emerging. Seeing Shen Jian's arrival, Jian, the head of Daxia Longke branch in Qingxi, breathed a sigh of relief and explained. Xingyi level fierce ghosts cannot be dealt with by non-3-star players, and cannot be dealt with by non-ghost masters. As a 4th-tier small city, Qingxi doesn't have many horror game players. There are no more than 50 players in the entire city who can reach 3 stars, and even fewer are in the Daxia Longke branch. If I count a lot, I can get 20 of them together. Once a red-clothed level ghost comes out, the consequences will be very serious. Shen Jian nodded. Getting ready to step into it? Jian Quan said worriedly, Mr. Shen, there is a certain chance of being transported to the world in the painting when you enter here. Several of our members entered it and completely disappeared. This city is completely cut off from communication means. Only supernatural power can operate here. Furthermore, after our judgment, we guess that the terrifying level of this ghost painting is unprecedented. It may have reached the legendary unsolvable level ghost, ranking among the top ghost kings. Hear this. Shen Jian expressed his sincere gratitude, then I'll lend you my good wishes. Say it. Shen Jian stepped into it. Disappeared in front of countless Daxia Dragon Bird members. Each of these members stared at Jian Quan with curiosity, horror, and confusion. Instructor Jian, is that the city manager in Qing City who never shows up? He looks to be in his mid-20s. I heard that if you want to become a city leader, You must be a 4-star player and pass the test at the headquarters before you are qualified to take on this important task. However, our guy has not been certified. Currently, the position of Qing City leader is still vacant. Is he really going to be okay? I heard that the unsolvable level ghost is already a terrifying existence that stands at the top of the horror world. Even a 5-star player cannot defeat a ghost king of this level. What's the pinnacle? There are legendary ghosts and gods above the ghost king. Those are the terrifying ghosts that stand at the pinnacle of the terrifying world. What's the use of saying it's so far away? Is there anyone who can kill ghosts and gods? Now let's think about how to survive the crisis. Even a 4-star player cannot match the supernatural power of a city. Everyone was arguing fiercely. Qian Quan remained silent. Really? At this time, any city, even the city where the person in charge of the city who is known as the first supernatural person is located, would not dare to say that this crisis can be solved. A top ghost king, an unbreakable level ghost, has exceeded the challenge limit of current players. Once the ghost painting himself takes action, it will not be as simple as an S-class supernatural event. It was an SSS-level incident of annihilation of the country. But who is this person in front of me? The King of Hell. How can the territory under the jurisdiction of the underworld be invaded? The last fallen angel organization that wanted to do this had all their members play GG. This time will be no exception. This was the only thing he always believed. At the same time, Shenji unofficially entered the Grey City. I felt it carefully again. The concentration of yin qi suddenly soared. Basically it is consistent with the horror world. Waited for a moment. He was a little surprised. Because he didn't trigger the game copy. He was not even sent to the world of picture scrolls. In this case, it would be difficult for him to control the ghost painting. The horror game uses the supernatural power of ghost paintings to come to the real world and plans to assimilate into the Yang world. He wasn't going to let the horror game succeed. According to the normal approach, he only needs to solve the transmission channel of ghost painting, and the little bastard of horror game has to admit defeat and wait for the next opportunity. But now, he didn't trigger a copy of the game. This is more troublesome. Shen Jian's face showed dissatisfaction. Thinking. He was already walking on the Grey City roads. The overall style of the city is very modern. There are various shops on both sides of the street. Just left not long ago. Shen Jian saw a roadside wonton shop. On a small cart, the owner of the wonton shop was shouting. There are tables and chairs around. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. There are stalls like this all over the streets in the real world. But this is a corner of the picture scroll world. How can anyone who can live in this kind of place be considered a normal person? If you are a thriller player, you will already be as far away as you can at this moment. But ordinary people are different. They have no sense of defense. Shen Jian looked over. At this time, many ordinary people were sitting on tables and chairs near the stall, grabbing small bowls and pouring wontons into their mouths desperately. Even the scalding hot soup could not quench their appetite. Even though their throats were burned, these people still put their hands into the hot soup, grabbed the wontons and stuffed them into their mouths as if they were possessed by starving ghosts. After finishing one bowl, I went to get another bowl. The whole stall was very lively. Shen Jian frowned. According to intelligence, when a corner of the world in the painting was realized in the real world, many anchors, internet celebrities, and some ordinary people who joined in the fun walked into it. He never came out again. Come to think of it, this is one of them. Just as Shen Jian was about to walk over, a voice stopped him. Don't go there, and don't stare at the plaque of this store, otherwise no one can save you. Shen Jian turned around and saw a young man wearing a Daxia dragon bird uniform standing on the other side of the street. He quickly ran over, grabbed him, lowered his voice and said with a pale face. There are still those people who can't be saved, so don't waste your efforts. Although I don't know you, the people who can still enter here at this time are probably horror game players. However, we have tried various methods and these people can no longer be saved. Daxialonke young man quickly explained. How to say? Shenjian asked. I tried to rescue, but after I rescued a survivor from here, his eyes opened wide, the flesh on his body disappeared bit by bit, and finally he died in front of me in extreme pain. According to the supernatural knowledge taught by Instructor Qian, I suspect that the wontons these people are eating are their own meat. Once they leave the scope of the supernatural, the wontons they eat will be reflected on them, and the corresponding reduction will be corresponding flesh. And I have just been observing for nearly an hour. The number of wontons they have eaten is enough to eat them clean. Once they leave here, these people will die instantly. Hear what the young man said. There was some appreciation in Shen Jian's eyes. The member of the great Xiaolonke in front of him has an astonishing insight. If this kind of person joins the thriller game, he will quickly stand out and become the best among them. I see. Shen Jian nodded. Walk directly towards the wonton shop. What are you doing? Even if you can bring them out, they will still die. It's better to live here for a while. The young man was a little stunned. I am puzzled by Shen Jian's choice. Just burn them to death. Shen Jian spoke. Daxialonke youth. He was a little stunned. Grass. Dude, what the hell are you talking about? Burn them because they are hopeless? He opened his mouth, not knowing how to reply. He has seen many living bodhisattvas on the internet, but this is the first time he has seen the living king of hell in reality. Just thinking about it? Shen Jian has already made a move. There was a ball of black flames on his right hand. That's hellfire. Burning supernatural. Never extinguished. Until there is no more magic. In Shen Jian's eyes, these ordinary people have been completely invaded by supernatural beings. If they don't burn out all the supernatural beings, they will be time bombs when they get out. It increases the workload of the city god temple in vain. Might as well burn it all down here. Although the process may be as painful as going through 18 levels of hell, you can still survive. Then, Shen Jian stretched out his hand. The black fire in the sky burned towards the wonton shop and ordinary people who were corrupted by the supernatural. Soon, a shrill scream sounded. The ordinary people who were frantically pulling wontons jumped up and down, wailing in pain. This scene. It also attracted the attention of the wonton shop owner. He stared at Shen Jian, dead silent, dark, and a cold aura emanating from him. A ghostly face showed the terrifying appearance of a dead person. Human, it's very difficult for me to deal with you messing up the situation like this. The sinister roar of the evil spirit sounded. Shen Jian raised his eyebrows. He said indifferently, is it difficult to do? Then don't do it. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Buletin Chigua. Chapter 373. At this time, screams were heard from the food stall of the wonton shop. The Daxia Dragon Bird members watched with their own eyes as the man who walked into the grey town waved his hand, and the black flames in the sky burned towards ordinary people like tarsal poison. Ghost controller. His pupils shrank. As a being with perfect theoretical knowledge of Daxia Dragon Bird, Leping knew very well that the being who could summon the Black Will-o'-the-Wisp with one hand like this must be the rumored Ghost Master. Samsung. This person is at least a Samsung player. Leping was a little surprised. Although he had just joined the great Xiaolongqiao, he basically knew the few 3-star players in Qing City. But among them, there is definitely no one like Shen Jian. Where did this person come from? Dare to confront a half-step red-clothed level devil head-on? Thinking. Shen Jian on the other side had already flipped the table arrogantly. A half-step red-clad ghost could no longer attract his attention. Since this gray city couldn't let him enter the world in the painting, he would go out and think of a way. As for the urban area on the outskirts of Qingxi now, he is not going to take care of it anymore and will just leave it to the underworld. Today's underworld is no longer as fragile as when he first obtained it. It may not be possible to solve the world in the painting, but it is more than enough to wipe out a corner of the city in the painting. Think of this. Shen Jian looked at the owner of the wonton shop and said, "It's difficult, isn't it? I'm going to make it impossible for you to run it. It's just your Sanwuo stall. Who knows what's in your fillings? It really affects the appearance of the city. I'll go there later, contact Gihua and have it banned." Wonton shop owner? Grass. What the hell is this Dogecoin? If there is a conflict between the two of us, you still need to call in foreign aid. I hate people with connections like you the most. He stared at Shen Jian and let out a vicious laugh. "Human, you will know how delicious it is after you try a bowl." The boss's sinister laughter resounded. The faces of the GameElements members in the distance turned pale. The so-called ghosts are really terrifying. The supernatural power he possesses is even more eerie and penetrating. Totally unreasonable. Once an ordinary person triggers the murderous law of the devil, there is no way to survive. Is what GameElements has to deal with, such a series of shocking and supernatural events? What about players of thriller games? What kind of absurd and terrifying story must they have experienced? Can the player in front of me really suppress Ligui? Countless doubts appeared in his mind. Next moment, Shen Jian took out a morning stick. Grinning, "It's delicious, right? It must have added ingredients. What I hate most in my life are people who add ingredients to it and people who don't let me add ingredients. Come on, let me save you and let you re-enter reincarnation and be reborn as a pig fetus in your next life," said. Shen Jian raised the morning stick and hit it. Wonton shop owner. "Damn it! Is it that fast?" His expression began to freeze. Because he found that Shen Jian was of course a bit fast. No, he was really fast on a horse. In just an instant, a white bone rod came to him. Just hit him with a stick on the head. "Damn it! You're the Flash." The owner of the wonton shop panicked. "Wait, aren't you going to save me? What are you doing now?" Shen Jian smiled kindly. "The academic term for my salvation is physical salvation." Wonton shop owner. What else was he going to say? Shen Jian's morning stick has been smashed down. Boom. There was a loud bang. The wonton shop owner fell to the ground. Shen Jian shook his head and took the body away skillfully. There are not many people who are as diligent and thrifty as him. At the same time, ordinary people who were burned by the fire of hell began to wake up one by one. Seeing the black flames burning on their bodies, everyone became frightened. "Help, help! What kind of fire is this and why can't it be put out? Save me, I don't want to be burned to death." Soon, as the supernatural beings in their bodies were continuously burned by the fire of hell, more and more people woke up and began to shout for help. Subsequently, some people began to rush out of the food stall in pain, and the black flames stained on their bodies became smaller and smaller, until after the last few shrill screams, the black flames completely disappeared. The pain in my body also disappeared. But the pain inflicted on the body before still caused the person who rushed out to fall to the ground and gasp for air, with eyes filled with horror. "See it?" Shen Jian looked at the other person and said, "You are lucky, the supernatural power in your body has been burned away. Hear this." The first survivor who rushed out looked at Shen Jian with shock and anger. "Did you set the fire? Do you want to burn us?" Shen Jian said expressionlessly, "At least you didn't die in the hands of a ghost." The first survivor was stunned for a moment. Then he subconsciously looked at the food stall behind him, and then he realized the current situation. He suddenly shivered all over and felt a chill in his heart. When he looked at Shen Jian again, there was no anger in his eyes, only fear and uneasiness. He hit a ghost. And this man killed ghosts. Saved him. Otherwise, he might have died by the time he left the food stall. It was not that he had not seen the scene in which a diner was pulled out and died outside, but he was just indifferent due to the supernatural influence. Think of this. He began to apologize sincerely. Then he stood behind Shen Jian and approached Leping, who was wearing a Daxia Longke uniform. He recognized that uniform, he was from the Qingxi official. Leping's eyes were strange and he said, "You are really impatient. You are a ruthless person who can kill a devil with one stick. How dare you say such cruel words? I was worried about him hitting you with a stick just now." Hear this. The first survivor became even more panicked and asked, "This big brother, is he also an official? Is he here to save us? There is something wrong with this ghost place." Leping glanced at the other party. He thought to himself, his status is much more important than that of the official people. He secretly glanced at the bloody hemp rope on Shen Jian's wrist, and the more he thought about it, the more familiar it became. Especially what instructor Qian once said. When you meet a person in Qingxi, you must obey his orders unconditionally. Even if it requires you to commit suicide, it will still be your blessing. The most striking feature of this person is a ghost rope on his wrist. If he guessed correctly, this person is the person in charge of Qing City that instructor Qian often talks about. Commonly known as, Qingxi is the leader. Not long after, more and more survivors rushed out of the food stall. Under the warnings of Leping and the first survivor, the anger of all survivors disappeared. Looking at Shen Jian secretly. Although Shen Jian was not an official, he saved them and killed the evil ghost, which gave people a sense of security. Naturally, they didn't want to be abandoned by Shen Jian. To this, Shen Jian ignored it. Start retreating along the way you came. Although this place is only a corner of the city in the painting, the area is equally huge. His personal power is definitely not as good as the underworld's evil forces dispatched by groups. Not to mention, he really has no interest in catching these ghosts whose highest level of terror is only half a red-clothed level. When passing by an alley, rapid footsteps sounded. There were survivors running for their lives and running towards him quickly. Shen Jian looked around. In an alleyway no more than 200 meters away, several young people fled in panic. They didn't even dare to look back. Because there is a huge balloon with a human head behind it. Under the huge human head, a hanging rope hangs. Lifted by the wind. It seemed as if it would be put on their heads at any time, hoisted up, and fly high into the sky. Hurry, hurry up. After running out of this alley, we will disperse and run away. Whoever is caught up by then will consider themselves unlucky. The man running at the front shouted loudly. Hear this. The survivors who followed behind were even more frightened. Everyone must run ahead. They don't need to outperform the head balloon, they just need to outperform everyone else. The head balloon will only hang one person at a time. At this moment, the man who was second to last pulled the woman in front of her by her long hair, pulled her down, and stepped over. Ah, you bastard! The woman got up from the ground, with a look of 3 parts anger, 3 parts panic, and 3 parts fear on her face. He couldn't help but cursed loudly. However, no one wants to help. Everyone pretended not to hear. Falling at this time means death. No one dares to risk being hanged from a balloon to save a stranger. The woman who fell seemed to know her fate. Struggling to get up. But the fall seemed to sprain her foot, and she could only run away while holding onto the wall. But the human head balloon behind him is getting closer and closer. The fatal hanging rope is approaching step by step. This moment, the long-haired woman was desperate. I couldn't help crying. But the survivor at the front looked happy because he could walk out of the alleyway right away. At this time, a figure walked out. He had black hair and black eyes, and his wrist was tied with a bloody hemp rope. The hemp rope stood up against the laws of nature. The man's expression changed drastically. Appearing here in such a weird way at this time, could it be another ghost? Shen Jian glanced at him and said, "You are lucky." Said. Shen Jian ignored the man and walked straight to the depths of the alley. He took out an ancient long knife. Period. Several survivors passed Shen Jian in surprise. I don't understand why this person wanted to die. Get out of the way. Don't block the road. Behind him, when the man pushing someone saw Shen Jian, he was frightened and angry, and was about to push him down again to delay and ensure his own safety. Shen Jian's face was expressionless. Kicked him over. The man who pushed him was kicked 3 meters away and hit the wall hard. A heart-rending scream sounded. Shen Jian ignored it. Holding the ghost knife, he walked towards the depths. The long-haired woman also saw Shen Jian coming, her eyes red from crying slowly raised. "You, who are you? Run away quickly, I can't walk anymore, I will stay with that bastard to feed people's heads." "Balloon, it's too late for you to run away now, so I'll take my revenge." Shen Jian glanced at her. Raise the ghost sword. Supernatural activation. A dark dead line suddenly appeared on the head of the human-headed balloon. Shen Jian slashed it with his sword. The dead line was cut without any resistance. The ferocity on the face of the human-headed balloon disappeared. Falling like a plane crash. The supernatural reaction of a half-step red code level disappeared, and he fell into a state of death. Then, the ghost rope revived, pulled out a hemp rope out of thin air, hoisted the human head balloon, and returned to Shen Jian. A length of hemp rope at the front was circled in front of Shen Jian. Long-haired woman? She was confused. What happened? The man was at least 50 meters away from the balloon and slashed it with his knife, causing the balloon to die. Such a strange scene really challenged her outlook. So much so that she opened her mouth wide and couldn't close it for a long time. "You can leave, follow." "Say it." Shen Jian turned and left. After a while, Shen Jian used Ghost Domain and led the group of survivors out of here. Entering the Grey City is like stepping half-foot into the city in the painting. It is a supernatural place surrounded by ghosts, and a group of ordinary people cannot get out. With a burst of red light, everyone appeared on the outskirts. There is no longer a cold atmosphere around, instead the sun is shining brightly and there is warmth everywhere. "Come out, we are finally out. Finally left this hellish place. I don't dare to go into strange places casually anymore." Many survivors cried with joy. I couldn't hold back my excitement and started yelling. The long-haired woman who was rescued by Shen Jian kept looking at the man who brought them out. She was very curious about Shen Jian's identity. I am also grateful to my savior. She wanted to go up and say thank you, but at this moment, she didn't dare to get close. Because a group of uniformed officials gathered around and stood in front of Shen Jian respectfully. This scene. Many survivors began to speculate about Shen Jian's identity. Some speculated that he was a state agent, some speculated that he was a capable person, and some thought he was some kind of big leader. I feel more and more in awe. Especially the man who was kicked by Shen Jian and suffered unbearable pain in his abdomen, looked even more frightened. He lowered his head and trembled. Afraid of being noticed by Shen Jian. "You guys stay here and someone will take over here soon." Shen Jian looked at Jian Quan and said. Then the red light burst out and disappeared. Shen Jian's eyes flickered. He knew that this sentence was basically equivalent to a positive admission that he had a relationship with the underworld and that he was the king of hell. But in today's underworld, there is no need to hide, no need to keep a low profile, and no need to care about Yang Shi's eyes. The arrival of the underworld is already a fact. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shiyu Buletin Chigwa. Chapter 374. Hades. Shenjian summoned all the current combat forces in the underworld. Sadako, Miss Mary, the Slit Girl, the Pen Fairy, the 4 bridesmaids, and the Ghost Bride, these are the most outstanding representatives of the dead in their last appearance in the underworld. Represents the effective combat power within the underworld. After being baptized by the Netherworld Pond, most of them have become infinitely close to the abyss-level ghosts. Among them, the Pen Immortal and the Ghost Bride have already reached the abyss-level Ghost King. Immediately afterwards, there was a group headed by the Nanli Ghost City forces. The son of the river god, the leader of the Wangui cult, a withered old man with a bull's head and a horse's face. All members are abyss level or above. Among them, the leader of the 10,000 Ghosts cult, the withered old man, is at the top Ghost King level. Under Shenjian's order. These people all return to the underworld. Meet Shenjian sitting in front of the Yama Hall. A supernatural incident broke out in Qing City. The ghost painting went out of control and a corner of the city in the painting appeared. Each of you will lead your subordinates to clean up the place. If there are survivors, they can be saved. Clear. The ghosts take orders. Seeing the group of ghosts disappearing into Yama Palace, Shenjian felt slightly agitated. Today, the number of Yinzei in the underworld has reached more than 4,000. Plus a dozen abyss-level Ghost Kings led the team. Not to mention 4-star dungeons, even 5-star dungeons can be destroyed. Coupled with the continuous construction of the city god's temple, the speed of expansion of the underworld will become alarming. It took him more than half a year from the establishment of the first city god's hall to the control of Qingxi. It only took less than 3 months from the establishment of the second city god's palace to taking control of Binhai City. The time required for the next third, fourth, and countless seats will become shorter and shorter. The influence of the underworld is also growing. At the end, wherever the territory of the underworld expands, that is the jurisdiction of the underworld. In today's world of Yang, the underworld is dominated by one family. Human forces and horror games can no longer stop the expansion of the underworld. Of course, the premise is that he can curb the invasion of horror games into the world. Otherwise thriller games could drop a city today. Tomorrow I dare to throw the whole province of Nanjiang district into the world. At that time, no matter how rapidly the underworld developed, it could not compete with the horror world that had reached its peak. Think of this. Shenjian also left Yamaluadian. He needs to find a way to enter the world in the painting, control the ghost painting, and prevent the horror game from invading the underworld. At the same time, the outskirts of Qingxi. Qian Quan and his team were on guard outside the Grey City. Daxia Longke members kept expressing doubts. Instructor Qian, do we have a second secret department in Qing City? Otherwise, who will take over this place? Instructor, we need to make plans early. The supernatural reactions in the Grey City over there are becoming more and more real, and the ink paintings of the cities in the sky have become clearer. If this trend continues, I am afraid that more cities in the paintings will have their own features before tomorrow. Here now. Yes, in less than 3 days, the actual scope of the city in the painting will cover Qingxi. When the two cities collide, it will be a complete disaster. The heated discussion also caused panic among the survivors. They looked up subconsciously. Then his face turned pale. Almost desperate. What happened to this world? 100-meter scroll actually flew in the air out of thin air, revealing a city in the style of an ink drawing. That city corresponds exactly to the gray urban area they entered. The city in the painting has come to the real world. They have just escaped from the cannibal hell. Are they about to step into the abyss again? There is an air of despair. Even within Daxialanke, many people were disheartened. A Shenjian, even if he is the leader of Qingxi, is as fragile as paper when faced with the invasion of a city in a painting. That is simply not something that human beings can resist. Qingxi can no longer be saved. What they should do now is to evacuate the crowd and completely abandon Qingxi. Look, what is that? At this time, one of the survivors exclaimed. Everyone looked at it. Everyone was stunned. I saw a majestic and huge ghost gate revealed in an open space. In an instant, the vast Senluo ghost energy surged straight into the sky, and the earth, the clouds, and mist in the sky collapsed, and there was no light for thousands of miles. Everything around started to become dark and gloomy. The mist is gentle. Gusts of dark wind blew out of thin air. The bright clearing began to fade, and in the mist, the huge ghost door opened, eerie and terrifying. On the stone gate, the 3 characters Ghost Pass are engraved on the rust, as if dripping with blood. This moment, the whole place was dead silent. Everyone's breathing was stagnant at this moment. Gate of Hell. This turned out to be the legendary Gate of Hell. The entrance to the legendary underworld. The first hurdle leading to the underworld. Now he appears in front of everyone so openly, telling everyone, the underworld has arrived. Horrified. Fear. Shocking. Incredible. Unimaginable. Looking at the open gate of hell, everyone salivated. My whole body was shaking. Myths and legends have arrived. This is a myth coming to reality. According to rumors, as long as you enter the gate of hell, you can enter the legendary underworld and see the endless hell. This is the kingdom of the dead and the end of all reincarnation. After death, one enters it. Walking through the Huangquan Road, stepping over the Nehi Bridge, swimming across the Huangchuan River, admiring the Red Sea of flowers on the other side at the end, and finally being judged for the sins of life in the Hall of Hell, walking onto the Wangxiang Terrace, recalling the past life, and finally drinking Mengpo soup, forgetting in his previous life, he was sent to the 6 realms of reincarnation and reincarnated. Who doesn't know a few bits and pieces of legends about the underworld? Even illiterate people who don't read and can't read have some knowledge of the underworld. But when they truly saw the gate of hell, everyone was trembling from the bottom of their hearts. Are we going to die? The gate of hell is wide open. Does this mean that we know that our lifespan has expired and are gesturing for us to enter it? Woohoo, I don't want to die yet, I don't want to die yet. Many survivors murmured to themselves. His face was ashen. The door to hell is wide open, that's not a good sign. Combined with the many factors this time, one can easily come to the conclusion, they are doomed. Next moment. Inside the misty gate of hell. One after another, Yin Chai wearing Yin Chai official robes came out. Each team is led by a terrifying Ghost King. The beautiful Ghost King with unparalleled elegance. A black-robed river god with a cold aura. There is the bull-headed horse face known to the world. There is also a green-faced Ghost King who looks like a monster, and a skinny old man. These Ghost Kings all exude a palpitating aura that makes one's scalp numb. The overwhelming resentment enveloped everything. Terror and coldness continue to spread. The mystery is gradually becoming clearer. Immediately afterwards, the hellish gangsters led by these Ghost Kings entered the Grey City one by one. The scene returned to calm. There is only one Ghost Gate left standing here. Everything he said just now was true. Dead silence. Looking at this scene, no one spoke. Everyone opened their mouths wide, but not a single word came out. This is true whether it is the survivors present, members of the great Xiaolonke, or Qian Quan. Sudden. Someone exclaimed. Is this what the man said, that someone will come to take over this place? As soon as these words came out, the whole place was in an uproar. No. It's impossible. He can direct the actions of the underworld. Could it be that he is the king of hell? Gilu, king of hell, have we been saved by king of hell? The king of hell appears, the gate of hell opens, and the underworld enters. This will be the most glorious moment in my life. I want to record it. The legendary underworld is real, and so is the king of hell. Everyone was in an uproar. His face turned red. Being saved by the legendary Lord of Hell, what a profound blessing it is. With this matter, they will reach the pinnacle of life. Amid all the noise, the long-haired woman who was rescued by Shen Jian fell into a daze. Was she rescued by the Lord of Hell? The Lord of Hell came to save her in person. It took a lot of luck to have such a sweet dream. Also, she actually overestimated her abilities and wanted to repay the Lord of Hell. Thinking of this, she became bitter. Extinguish some unrealistic ideas. After all, Shen Jian excels in her aesthetics, is her savior, and has status. Who wouldn't be tempted by such a man? But this moment, she has low self-esteem. How could she be worthy of being the king of hell? She was not even qualified to be a mistress. But completely different from the long-haired woman was the pushing man who was kicked by Shen Jian. His body was shaky and he finally passed out. He looked stunned. He actually offended the Lord of Hell, and his life became gloomy. Already, don't you plan to hide it? Qian Quan, on his side, was also murmuring. His eyes suddenly lost color. He knew that Shen Jian was the king of hell, but after all, this was just a guess without any confirmation. Even if he is 100% sure of this. As long as Shen Jian doesn't admit it, everything is just conjecture. But now, the door is wide open. Everything is proving it, and Shen Jian seems to have no intention of hiding it anymore. Even the iconic underworld spectacle of the Gate of Hell is revealed. The myth is really coming. The only thing he wants to know now is whether Shen Jian is the legendary king of Yama. The other side. Sensing that the gates of hell were wide open, everyone began to take action. Shen Jian also appeared in Villa No. 001. The river goddess did not participate in the action. She has to keep the house. It prevents really reckless things from entering the realm of the underworld, and also prevents horror games from counter-invading. The ghost lake of the dead river and the water of the netherworld pond are the greatest source of terror for the river goddess. With these two combined, even if a top ghost king wants to steal the house, the river goddess can suppress them. Husband, this oil painting has no yin-qi reaction, but it still retains a bit of supernatural power. I just tried it. Through this oil painting, I can enter the world in the painting. The river goddess brought the ink painting. Shen Jian nodded. According to Qian Quan, when the ghost painting went out of control, it also introduced a large number of ordinary people who had seen her appearance into the city in the painting. This medium, I think, is the oil painting around me. Think of this. Shen Jian put his hand into the oil painting. The palm of my hand sank directly into it. Look after your home, I'll be back soon. Shen Jian said. The entire body passes directly through the blank oil painting. It has been detected that the player has entered the ghost realm, and a special copy has been triggered. The copy has been anchored. It is detected that the player is wearing the title of Dungeon Collapser, and the game becomes more difficult. If a player is detected wearing the title Ghost Seeing Sorrow, the copy will have a certain chance of mutating. The copy is loading. You have completed the match. Copy, Paradise Lost. Content, This is a ghost land that only exists in memory because of the instigation of a certain scumbag. The ghost painting was injured, and there was a problem with the supernatural memory, so it could no longer control the world of the painting. Number of players, 360. Main mission, find the true identity of the ghost painting. Side mission. Task tips, obsession is very strong, but also very fragile. Difficulty, 2 stars to 5 stars. As the scarlet panel flashed by, Shen Jian walked through the oil painting and appeared in a private room of a hotel. Warn. 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 The difficulty of this copy will gradually increase as time goes by. The owner of this scroll has detected the entry of outsiders. The side mission has been started. Side mission, 7-day escape. Content, outsiders appear in Gui Hua's memory. She will destroy all enemies that invade her memory every day. The terror level of the ghosts that follow will increase by 1 level. Note, once the 7 days are up, the dungeon task will automatically fail to settle, and the Lord of the Scroll will personally take action. Note, the tracker map has been turned on. Wish players good luck. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 375. As the scarlet panel flashed by, Shen Jian had already appeared in a private room of a hotel. He looked at the introduction of this copy of the game with a strange look in his eyes. How can this be said to have anything to do with him? Because of the special nature of the ghost painting, he was unable to catch the evil ghost, so he casually made up the fact that someone wanted to kill him. Unexpectedly, the ghost painting was so evil that he went to the Lu family in person to help him get justice. What to say, the person she wants to kill can only be killed by her, and no one else can. Let him protect his own life and wait for her to recover before coming to kill him. Now that I think about it, thanks to Gui Hua being strong enough. Otherwise it would have been destroyed long ago. After all, he only learned not long ago that the Lu family was the previous city lord of Nanjiang district, and the strongest member of the Lu family was the previous old city lord, a genuine top ghost king. If Gui Hua can escape, there is no doubt that he is also a top ghost king. But compared to the old city lord of the Lu family, he should be much inferior. Looking at the game panel, Shen Jian pondered. The main mission is to find the true form of Gui Hua, which is not difficult for him. He possesses the nether eye ability brought by the priesthood of King Chujiang, and can distinguish the lifespan and good omen of anyone, including ghosts. As long as he glances at it, the ghost painting will have nowhere to hide. The difficult thing is how to control ghost paintings. Thinking. Shen Jian withdrew his gaze. Scanning the environment in front of you. This seems to be a private room in a large hotel. There were several banquet tables. However, there was no one in the room. They were all squatting in the corner of the box, gathering around and burying their heads. Sobbing, bitterness, and quarrels continued. Shen Jian's face was expressionless. By a rough count, he found that there were about 30 players here. All ordinary people. Obviously, these are all unlucky people who have seen the true appearance of the ghost painting and been transported in. Shen Jian clicked his tongue. There are 360 people in the dungeon. The difficulty of this dungeon is not high. But the mortality rate is definitely the highest. Let a group of ordinary people enter a game with a minimum 2-star copy. The horror game has no intention of letting people live. Just thinking about it? Several voices sounded not far away from Shen Jian. Master Shen. Master Shen. Brother Shen. Shen Jian's eyes were startled. Turn around and look. 3 delicate and handsome women stood up and looked at him with surprise on their faces. 2 of the women are dressed as urban beauties. The remaining 1 girl is wearing a white dress and has the greenness of a female college student. That's right, you have also seen ghost paintings. Shen Jian raised his eyebrows. These women were the victims when he first encountered supernatural events in the real world. He remembered that one was Cai Minmin, a victim of the Bixian incident. One is Ji Haifei, a victim of the ghost infant murder incident. The two women belong to the same company. The former is a clerk. The latter is the female boss of the company. The first paranormal shop he founded was funded by this female boss. As for the remaining female college student, he also had a profound influence. Because the ghost painting in his master bedroom was obtained from the other party. They are cousins with concubine Ji Hai. The three women saw ghost paintings with him. It's normal to be teleported in. Master Shen, is it really you, and you were also sent in? Cai Minmin wiped her tears, her eyes red. Grabbing Shen Jian's arm, it was like meeting the savior. Master Shen, you have just arrived and may not be aware of the situation. Everyone here was sent out for various inexplicable reasons. Although Ji Haifei's face was pale, she still managed to stay calm and explain to Shen Jian. She knew the terrifying energy of this man. Although she had never looked for Shen Jian in the past 6 months or so, she had vaguely heard a lot of rumors as she was in the top wealthy circle of Qing City. We also know that Shen Jian moved his residence to the largest Republican building on Fengqing Street. She knew best how much that Republic of China building was worth. According to rumors, the Republic of China villa was given to Shen Jian unconditionally. She didn't know what happened. But I also know that in the past half year or so, Shen Jian's energy has become more and more terrifying. Until now, she has completely lost the clue about Shen Jian. He is no longer a person of the same world. Yes, brother Shen, I was walking on the road. I don't know what happened, but the image of this hotel appeared in my mind. When I woke up, I found that I had appeared in the private room of this hotel. The girl in the white dress also had tears in her eyes. Listening to the words of the three women in front of him, Shen Jian quickly understood the situation here. A little surprised. This ghost painting is so supernatural and special. It is actually possible to modify the memories of ordinary people and forcibly throw them into the extra memories. This ability is very incomprehensible. He is worthy of being the top ghost king. The sound of the four people talking also attracted the attention of others. After all, the three most beautiful women in the box gathered around a man and kept saying Master Shen, which easily attracted others' attention. A charlatan? The others sneered inwardly with disdain. These days, out of 10 magic sticks, 9 are fake, and 1 is turning fake. Don't even look at where this place is. Don't be so scared that you wet your pants when you see a ghost. Contemptuous glances fell on Shen Jian. At such a young age, with such good looks, being an idle trainee is better than being a deceitful idol. To this, Shen Jian ignored it. Asked, have you ever been out? Ji Haifei said calmly, someone has gone out. There are 10 boxes here, 8 of which are people who were teleported in like us. An hour ago, someone discussed going out, but never came back. The only one those who came back alive only said one sentence, it's full of ghosts outside, and then died. After that, we stayed in the box and no one came in. Shen Jian nodded. It's normal for no one to come in. The hotel was originally empty. It should be similar to the safe place at the beginning of the game. But Shen Jian looked at the game panel. Click on the so-called tracker map. It was discovered that a red dot was approaching and was overlapping their location. If you guessed correctly, this should be the 7-day escape of the side mission. They broke into Guihua's memory as outsiders. Guihua decided to destroy them and sent nearby ghosts to hunt them down. However, the horror game seems to know that this is a copy that is bound to die. So a new tracker map was added. It can let players know the location of the evil ghost they are chasing. Gave the last glimmer of hope. Shen Jian was thoughtful. pushed open the door to the box. What are you doing? Seeing Shen Jian open the door, other players around him became anxious. He roared angrily, the ghost is here. If we are discovered, all of us in the box will die. If you want to die, don't hold us back. Hear this. Shen Jian was slightly startled. I dare say these people regard the box as a place of shelter, so they are unwilling to go out. Even if they know that the ghost has come, they still remain indifferent. Shen Jian was a little funny. At this time, the door to box number 5 on the opposite side also opened. A middle-aged man poked his head out nervously. Brother, do you want to leave? Do you want to come together? My brother who came back alive said that he had encountered this red dot ghost before. At that time, they hid in a room, but when Li Gui opened the door, one of them died without warning. I don't want to hide here and bet on the probability of murder if Li Gui opens the door. Master Shen, we will leave with you. Ji Haifei also spoke. And pulled the other 2 women out. She knew very well that in this hellish place, only Shen Jian could keep them safe. Otherwise, they, a group of weak women, will die here sooner or later. See this scene. Others in the box also started talking. Are we going out? No, don't you hear what those people said? There are ghosts outside, how can we survive? But staying here all the time is not an option. What if this box is not safe? If you want to leave, you can leave. I won't leave anyway. What if this is a safe place for the game and it will be absolutely safe if you don't go out? Everyone was divided. At this time, an extremely foul smell filled the entire corridor. Tread, tap. A heavy footstep sounded. Everyone was shocked. In this city full of evil ghosts, those who walked in from the outside at this time were undoubtedly evil ghosts. Ghost. The ghost is coming. The sound of footsteps kept sounding. Every step seemed to step on their hearts. What are you doing? Come in quickly. The ghost has appeared. Do you want to kill us? A man shouted in a low voice and was about to pull Shen Jian in and close the box door. Shen Jian glanced at the other party. Completely walked out. Everyone. Damn it. At a time like this, you, a bastard, are still going to pretend to be a fool? That's a real ghost. It will kill people. Haven't you heard others say that as long as the evil ghost opens the door, someone will die randomly? Where did you get the courage to go out? Damn it, buddy, listen to my advice. We can wait until the ghost is gone before escaping. If we go out now, there is really no way to survive. The middle-aged man opposite also tried to dissuade him. It doesn't matter. Since the ghost is here to kill people, it is natural to start killing from the first box. We can stand next to the ghost and observe his killing probability, so that we can calculate whether it will affect us. Shen Jian said casually. Then walked up. Middle-aged man? The rest? Ji Haifei. Damn it. Can it still be like this? Hear this. Everyone was stunned. The god is standing next to the ghost and calculating the probability of killing. What if the ghost doesn't play his cards right and kills you first? Shen Jian walked away. Soon I saw the first fierce ghost chasing me. It was a rickety old man in mourning clothes. But it's not the white-clothed level, but the red coat level. Obviously, the difficulty of the copy has increased. The starting point is the 3-star rising copy difficulty. At this time, the ghost who opened the door was already standing in front of the door of the first box. His pale and withered hand had already grasped the door handle. The supernatural spreads quietly. Just open the door. One person in the room will die randomly. If you open the door, you will die. This is his killing pattern. The ghost smiled sadly when he opened the door. He sensed that there were many living people here. Every time he opens the door, a random human dies. And this process is accompanied by great fear and horror. That's what makes him happy. Think of this. Crunch. The door handle was twisted. Just when the ghost who opened the door flashed its stable in his heart. A dazzling white arc composed of countless electric arcs exploded the door first. Haha, you can kill people by opening the door, right? I've always been curious, how would you activate the killing pattern without the door? A teasing voice sounded. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shiyubuletin Chigwa. Chapter 376. What should you do if you encounter a ghost who wants to open the door? It's very simple, confiscate his crime tools. At this time, Shen Jian implemented this method very well. A lightning shot past. Blow the door directly to pieces. Boom. Amidst the huge explosion, the box door in front of the old man who opened the door was immediately blown open, leaving only a door handle in the hand of the man who opened the door. Sawdust was flying all over the sky. Door opener. He looked down at the door handle in his hand, then at the blown-out door, and was stunned. My mind goes blank. Send 3 questions from the depths of your soul. Who is he? Why is he here? What is he going to do? Soon. The opener ghost figured it out. He is a red-clad fierce ghost with the ability to kill anyone who opens the door. Now he is hunting down humans. As long as the door of the box is opened, his killing pattern will be triggered, and these humans will die in despair one by one. Contribute to the thrilling emotion in front of him. But here comes the problem. Where is the door? Where did Mentama go? The ghost who opened the door turned around and looked at Shen Jian walking out from the depths of the corridor. He spread his fingers and looked at him with a teasing smile on his face. The expression on his face suddenly changed from shock to cold. The thin old face stared at Shen Jian. A pair of pupils with unspeakable resentment. I wish I could tear this damn human being into pieces. But there's something about this human being. If he wanted to kill the opponent, he could only rely on the supernatural death effect. Then, the ghost who opened the door decisively gave up on the humans in box 1 and came to the door of box 2. He decisively stretched out his hand to open the door of box 2. His ability to open the door to kill is not limited to killing only the people in the room. At the red level terror level, he only needs to open the door to designate a person to kill. Apparently, the person he wanted to kill was Shen Jian. The ghost who opened the door showed a sneer. There are so many doors here, and he still doesn't believe that this human being can stop me one by one. As long as he uses his supernatural powers once, this human being will die. Boom. Just thinking about it? Shen Jian opened his fingers, and another electric arc shot out. The door of box number 2 was smashed. Open the door, ghost. Veins popped out on his forehead, and his grimace became increasingly distorted and ferocious, but he suppressed his anger and appeared in front of the door of box 3. Boom. Another explosion sounded. Box number 4. Boom. Box number 5. Boom. Box number 6. Bang bang bang. Shen Jian stood there, waved his hand, and white arcs of lightning caught up with the door opener and blew up the door. Door opener? Damn it! Please be human. You can almost finish all the bamboo shoots on this mountain by yourself. Is it fun for you to play tricks like this? This time, the ghost who opened the door has arrived at the last box in the corridor. His palm was already on the door handle. And already squirmed. The door to the private room also slowly revealed its gap. A bright white light flew past, grazing the opener's head and destroying his last hope. At this time, there are no doors in the hotel corridor. The man who opened the door stared at the last box with a stiff face, and the hand holding the door handle was raised in the air, trembling slightly. His expression even looked a little helpless. Knock on you, human being, do you hear me? I'll knock on your horse. The ghost roared sadly when he opened the door. The defenses of the family members were broken. He is a powerful red-clothed ghost, but he has no door to knock on, and as a result, he is unable to use his supernatural powers. How dare you believe this? If you have a problem with me, attack me. The door is innocent, so you attack the innocent door. Isn't it a bit too much fun? Is this how you avoid the evil ghost's killing pattern? You put this card on my bug. The ghost who opened the door had a cold face and said solemnly, "Human, what do you mean by this? Can't you afford it?" Shenjian chuckled, "You can't blame ghosts. Don't blame the uneven road. If you have such a weakness, you must know that others will take advantage of you." Door opener. Damn it! God is so weak. In his life, he had never heard of someone cracking his murder pattern like this. This is a ghost's weakness. If he hadn't known that Shenjian was not easy to mess with, he would have let Shenjian know early on that he would die miserably if he underestimated the strength of a red-clothed ghost except for supernatural powers. But facing Shenjian, he had no choice. You can't rush forward and become a living target for others. The atmosphere at the scene became somewhat stiff. The other side. Because the box door was blown open, many people saw Shenjian's method of avoiding the murderous ghost. It turns out that this ghost's killing pattern is that if you open the door, you will die. We only need to take away the door, or go to a place without a door, and the ghost will be dead. I learned it. It turns out that ghosts are single-celled organisms. Looking at it this way, ghosts don't seem to be very scary. I feel like I have hope of survival again. There was a lot of discussion. More and more ordinary people are seeing the desolation and resentment of being unable to open the door. There was an idea in my heart that I could do it too. Ji-Hi-Fei and Cai Min had strange eyes. That's a ghost. How can it be as simple as these people say? As survivors who have experienced supernatural events, the two women know deeply that ghosts are far more terrifying than that. The ghosts in the real world alone are enough to kill people in films, let alone the ghosts in the world of this painting. It's definitely not weaker than the real world. The reason why there is a sense of déjà vu that the ghost is inferior to opening the door is entirely because the ghost's opponent is Shenjian. Not to mention anything else, who can do that with just one hand holding thunder? Just thinking about it? The open door ghost has already made some moves. He turned and ran. No way. This human being is playing tricks on him. Without being able to launch a supernatural attack, he didn't want to become a living target for this human being. As for hunting down humans, dogs' lives matter. Besides, he went back to cheer up and prepare a suitable place to trouble this human again, but the result was the same. He calls this a strategic retreat. Think about it this way. The silhouette of the ghost who opened the door and escaped became taller and taller. However, Shenjian had no intention of giving the other party a chance. He grinned and followed up with his body. At the same time, he said with a sinister smile, "As I said, ghosts can't do it. Don't be afraid of uneven roads. Even if there is no door, I can still use the supernatural power of killing people when opening the door." Door opener? He was slightly startled. Damn it! Will you kill if you open the door? How can you control such a powerful ghost? His first thought was disbelief. To kill by opening the door must be used as the medium. Maybe there will be new changes in the supernatural beings when they reach the level of unsolvable ghosts, but before that, there will basically be no big changes. He didn't believe that Shenjian had mastered Jigsaw, a ghost with unsolvable door-opening powers. But he couldn't help but be curious. I chose to look back. I want to know what Shenjian's so-called killing pattern is all about. Then he saw a black steel rod hit the back of his head. The voices of countless ghosts came from this weapon. The ghost who opened the door showed a hint of fear. If this stick is implemented, he will definitely die. He was dumbfounded. His eyes almost popped out of his head. Grass. What door are you knocking on? Hit me on the head with a steel rod, right? You know the killing rules of killing when you open the door. The old man's face turned green when he opened the door. He watched helplessly as the long and thick black steel rod hit his head. At that moment, his brain was almost knocked out. Completely lost consciousness. In his next life, he would never meet this human being again. Stuff the corpse of the opener into a sack. Shen Jian walked back. He had been delaying for such a long time just now, and he didn't see any changes around him. It seems that although this is a memory world painted by ghosts, everything is real, and the ghosts are also real. Don't worry that after you knock it to death, it will become a memory and disappear. If that were the case, this trip would probably be in vain. Now he's tested it out. The place in front of us, named Lost Paradise by the horror game, is indeed a city of real ghosts. It is almost the same as the situation in Nanli Ghost Town. Not much different except not as brutal as a ghost town. If such a city could spit out all the ghost paintings, half of the 18th level of hell would be unlocked immediately. Think of this. A smile appeared on Shen Jian's face. He looked at the tracker map on the panel. Found a pattern. As time goes by, the number of ghosts being tracked is gradually increasing. On the first day, it was normally a white-clothed level ghost. The next day is King II level. The third day is the red level. On the fourth day there were 2 red coat level. On the fifth day, there were 5 red level ones. The sixth day is a ghost king. By the seventh day, if the true identity of the ghost painting has not been found and the copy has been completed, the owner of the scroll will take action himself. At that time, the difficulty of the dungeon will become 5-star. Everyone will face the pursuit of a top ghost king. But things are different now. Because of his intervention, the game became more difficult. And it grows exponentially. A red-clad fierce ghost appeared on the first day. After successfully solving the door-opening ghost, 3 red-clad ghosts appeared directly on the map. Apparently, this was the pursuer on the second day. But because he solved the door opener in advance, he won a day's buffer time. At this time, 3 red-clad ghosts stopped on the map and did not take action. See this. Shen Jian's eyes sparkled. The next day there were 3 red-clothed level ghosts. Then wouldn't there be only 10 red coat level ones on the third day? Go to Ghost King on the fourth day? An Abyss level ghost comes on the fifth day? The high intensity Ghost King lineup on the sixth day? Shen Jian's eyes moved. If you catch them all, you can almost defeat an unsolvable level ghost. And the higher the terror level of the Ghost King, the easier it is to know the true location of the ghost painting. He just needs to follow the directions on the map to catch it, and sooner or later he will know the location of the ghost painting. Looking at the scarlet panel, Shen Jian became more and more satisfied. Quite emotional. How convenient it would be if every time you enter a dungeon there is a map with the location of the ghosts marked on it. I don't know if special rewards like maps can be given. Thinking. Shen Jian has returned to box 6 from deep in the corridor. This moment, the focus of the entire audience was on Shen Jian. Especially in the box number 6 where the 3 girls of concubine Ji Hai were, a famous player looked at Shen Jian in astonishment, with fear in his eyes. God stick? This is obviously the master. And he is also the legendary Taoist priest of Longhu Mountain. Even things that are not in line with scientific values, such as palm thunder, have appeared. Some college students with many ideas have even imagined a strange world with extraordinary people, martial arts sects and other extraordinary forces. And Shen Jian is walking on Earth in the contemporary Tianqi mansion. Only then can the legendary palm thunder be used. Others are not pretending to be awesome, this is really awesome. Everyone looked at Shen Jian with fiery eyes. The quick-thinking working women are even taking advantage of their own advantages to get closer to Shen Jian. He looked like he was going to drink and deal with sex. The three girls of concubine Ji Hai felt alarm bells ringing in their hearts. Surrounded Shen Jian. He looked warily at these women who were about to throw themselves into his arms. Shen Jian saw it. There was no wave on his face. He just said calmly, "I'm going to hunt down the evil ghosts on the map. If you want, I'll follow them, but I can't guarantee that I can save them in time." Finished. Shen Jian turned and left. Hear this. The people with fiery eyes immediately seemed to have been poured cold water on them, and the blood in their bodies seemed to be frozen. The spirit trembled. To chase down the ghosts on the map? Does this mean you don't want to live? One ghost was so scary just now, but now there are three. This is not seeking death. Think of this. Everyone looked at Shen Jian's leaving figure and gritted their teeth, but still did not dare to follow him. It's already safe here. However, once you get out of here, the first target of the pursuers will become the leader. In this case, once Shen Jian fails or is held back, they will have no chance of survival. In this case, whoever follows him would be stupid. Might as well continue to hide here and live happily. The atmosphere at the scene became awkward. No one moved. Only concubine Ji Hai and the other three girls hesitated for a moment and followed. Also following was the middle-aged man in box number 5 opposite the door. There were more than 300 people in 7 boxes, but only 4 followed. 4 outliers. At this time, in the eyes of these people, Ji Hai Fei and the other 4 have no chance of coming back alive. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yu Buletin Chigua. Chapter 377. Master, wait for us. Shen Jian walked out and looked at the 4 people following him with some surprise. Even though Ji Hai Fei knew that he had some strength, he planned to walk out of the hotel and face the city's greatest danger. Even fools knew that his strength alone could not be compared with that of a city's evil ghosts. Following him is simply asking for death. He didn't think that a female boss who could create such a big business in Qingxi wouldn't know this. To this, Ji Hai Fei seemed to know what Shen Jian was thinking, and said calmly, "Master Shen, we were sent here inexplicably. While we are looking for the true form of the so-called ghost painting, we also have to face the pursuit of evil ghosts. There is no way to survive. Word. I think this so-called copy should be prepared for experienced players of horror games. Ordinary people like us can only leave it to fate. Rather than hiding in a place waiting to die, I would rather believe in your strength, Master Shen." Ji Hai Fei said, looking up at Shen Jian. "Master, you should be a veteran player of that kind of horror game. Before we were teleported here, there were a dozen players like you who had already walked out. Someone once offered to follow, but they were rejected without hesitation. Those people must also be players of thriller games. Hear this." Shen Jian's face showed no signs of wavering. Early in the morning, he discovered that the box was full of ordinary people. Even if the horror game players had extraordinary insight into supernatural events, it was impossible for not one player to fall into the trap. Now it seems it's these players who have joined forces. The person Miss G is talking about could not be me. The middle-aged man on the side smiled bitterly and said, "I was one of the first people to come in. I heard those people discussing that ghost paintings are dangerous and they need to eliminate obsessions, so I wanted to join them, but was rejected. Well, as a newcomer, it's better to stay here and not cause any trouble." I can clearly hear their nervousness between words, but this brother is different. He kills ghosts easily. I guess even horror game players have different levels, and this little brother should be among the best. A powerful one. The man began to brag about Shen Jian. A series of flattery slaps. Boss Wang's eloquence is still admirable. Ji Haifei didn't comment, just nodded slightly. Apparently, the two knew each other. See this. Shen Jian glanced at Boss Huang. Let's go. Say it. Turn around and leave. Shen Jian glanced at the map on the panel. According to the location, the pursuer on the second day was in a shopping mall not far away. Soon, the red dots on the map overlap. Shen Jian looked around. That's a children's section of the mall. A paradise castle full of plastic comes into view. There are many cartoon plastic slides, houses, animal models, building blocks, small pinballs and other play facilities. In the real world, this kind of paradise castle is very common. It is a place specially used for children to play. But at this moment, the appearance of this paradise castle seemed extremely terrifying. The next second, the laughter of children rang out in the plastic castle. Hee hee. Come and catch me. Brothers and sisters, come and catch us. If we can't be caught, we're going to catch you. Hear this. The faces of Ji Haifei and the four others changed drastically. Look again. Paradise Castle suddenly became lively. There were sounds of children playing, like they were playing hide and seek. And the brothers and sisters the other party refers to are them. At this time, on the high plastic slide, a little boy climbed up. Due to the angle, everyone could only see his head. The little boy smiled happily at them. Then, slided down the slide. A head with only a skull slid down. Saw this scene. A chill ran down everyone's spine. A chill surged from the soles of his feet to Tianling Gai. I just felt like my whole body was trembling. Breathing became heavy. It's not that they have never seen ghosts, on the contrary, they are all survivors of supernatural events. Just like the Bixian Cai Min Min met. The ghost baby Ji Haifei encountered. The ghost paintings Huang Yuzhen encountered. And the door opener I encountered not long ago. Those are all ghosts. In their understanding, ghosts have the same body shapes as humans, big and small, old and young, but they have all kinds of terrifying supernatural abilities. However, this ghost with only its head left in front of them refreshed their understanding of ghosts. A head that was not only alive, but also able to move, and even smile happily at them. The more I watch, the more horrifying it becomes. Their inner fear threshold is constantly rising. If Shen Jian hadn't been standing by, they would have fled in panic, far away from this ghost place. Hee hee hee. Brothers and sisters, why don't you move? Can't you find anyone else? In that case, we will come to arrest you. The little boy with only his head left laughed sadly. A head stood upright on the slide. The words fell. On the Paradise Castle, another little boy with a bruised neck appeared in a small castle. From behind the slide, a little girl walked out. Her eyes were empty, her pupils were white, and her face was covered in blood. The three fierce ghosts all looked at the humans in the distance with penetrating eyes. Ji Haifei and the other four trembled with excitement, and their faces turned pale. They looked at Shen Jian. Everyone wants to know how to escape later. This is horrible. Only by facing the ghost directly can we most intuitively feel the terror of the ghost. Compared with the three ghosts in front of them, all the ghosts they had encountered before were extremely weak. Even for Shen Jian, it would not be easy to face the siege of three fierce ghosts at the same time. The best way is to lure the evil spirits away. Create a one-to-one supportive environment. Only in this way can Shen Jian defeat them one by one. Just thinking about it? Shen Jian has already walked out. He took out a black steel rod from his body. He kicked open the protective fence of Paradise Castle and said with a grin, "Hurry up and hide. Uncle, I only count 3 seconds. I will arrest you after 3 seconds. If you are caught, you will be punished." Head boy. He was stunned for a moment. What the hell are you? The punishment won't be to beat them with the steel rod. This will kill people. The skull ghost said with a sinister expression, "Uncle, it's our turn now. It's your turn to hide, and we'll catch it." Shen Jian chuckled, "I'm not tired of it yet. How can it be your turn? Again, hide it? If you are caught by me, I will touch you," the Bodhisattva said. Shen Jian was approaching step by step. The strange smile on his face became more and more obvious. He stared at the little boy with only one head left, and then looked at the black steel rod in his hand, as if he was thinking about whether he could crush the boy with this stick. Head ghost. Grass. Why do you want to touch it? You clearly want to hit it with a stick. This human being has a very evil mind. Go on, bite this human to death. The head ghost roared sadly. Hear this. The other two ghosts had vicious and ferocious looks on their faces. The yin qi in his body surged. The terrifying supernatural beings belonging to the red-clothed level ghosts overflowed. He rushed towards Shen Jian. Running room. The terrifying yin qi directly set off a gust of wind. The four concubines Ji high in the distance immediately had an ominous premonition of impending disaster. Just standing in the distance, their bodies began to tremble uncontrollably. It's hard to imagine what kind of pressure Shen Jian must endure when facing the threat of a powerful ghost. This kind of pressure can drive people crazy. However, the next second, boom! There was a loud noise. Shen Jian swung the black steel rod and swept across. The tremendous force combined with the weight of the black steel rod caused a strong hurricane to strike the moment the rod was swung out. With lightning speed, it hit the two red-clad ghosts hard. The two figures flew out quickly. Smashed through the Paradise Castle. It crashed on the spot. Head ghost. Looking at the two similar creatures flying away from him, the sinister smile on his face disappeared. Instead, he was dumbfounded. Damn it! Killed two red-clothed level ghosts with one stick. Are you sure this is a human? Ghosts are not that fierce. 3 seconds have expired. Uncle has found you. Are you ready to accept the punishment? Hold your butt up for me. Oh yes, you only have your head, so let Uncle give you a spanking as punishment. Hear this. The head ghost panicked. His eyes were filled with fear. What you are so special about is dog competition. What's the difference between giving you a stick and dying directly? Think of this. The skull ghost turned around immediately. Jumping away. He shouted in horror, "Don't come over, our parents are nearby, human being, if you don't want to die, stop immediately." Hear this. Shen Jian was startled at first. Then a rich smile appeared on his face. G, hurry up, call your parents over here, or I will kill you. Shen Jian smiled strangely. While chasing him, he forced the head ghost to call his parents with fiery eyes. Is it the Chinese New Year today? Catching 3 red-clad fierce ghosts will also give you a gift package for parents. Shen Jian glanced at the panel. I don't know when, the map that originally had only 3 red dots suddenly had many more red dots. Taking a closer look, there are at least 8 fierce ghosts distributed throughout the mall. One of the places seemed to be where the skull ghost was escaping. A bit of surprise flashed in Shen Jian's eyes. Could it be that the pursuers on the third day were the parents of these children? The other side. The 4 people who had been prepared to serve as bait to share the pressure of the 2 ghosts for Shen Jian and create a one-on-one environment watched as Shen Jian killed the 2 ghosts with one stick and then chased the remaining one out. Everyone was stunned. I was speechless for a long time. This is crazy. It seems to be a billion or so different from the plan they imagined. Was it also the wrong person to escape? They looked at each other and looked at each other. Then came the realization, pressure. It doesn't exist for Shen Jian. He is father beating son. It's just that instead of using 7 wolves, it's a limited edition iron rod. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 378. Shopping Mall. Shen Jian grabbed the skull ghost's dog's head and threatened him fiercely. Run? Try running again. I told you to call your parents, why are you running away? Don't you think I'm not a good person? Head ghost. Woohoo. The little boy wanted to cry but had no tears. Damn it. You just grabbed such a long steel rod and smashed 2 of my friends to death, and then chased me and beat them? He looked like he wanted to knock me to death. What am I running for now, you ask? Why should I run? Don't you have any points? He looked sad and angry. The head with only one head left looked at Shen Jian bitterly, but after hearing Shen Jian's last words, he felt a little hope again. Brother, if I don't run away, are you a good person? Oh, I'm not. Head ghost? Grass. No, just say it. You're kidding me, right? He glared at Shen Jian. Shen Jian pulled out a machete with his backhand. What, you want to touch me? Head ghost. Brother, you are awesome, everything you say is right. Call your family, or I will break up the vote. Shen Jian raised his eyebrows. Said. He looked at the panel again. At this time, the red dots belonging to the 3 ghosts on the map have disappeared, replaced by new location divisions refreshed on the map. There are 8 fierce ghosts in total. All top red shirts. A smile appeared on Shen Jian's face. This live map is quite useful. Once the thriller game determines that the pursuer is dead or has escaped tracking, it is regarded as the escape mission for that day, and then the lineup and strength of the pursuer for the next day will be refreshed. This can be regarded as the final fairness of the horror game. Everything has a glimmer of hope. Even if this vitality is difficult to grasp, or even basically impossible to grasp, thriller games do remain. After all, as long as the location of Li Gui can be known in real time, the difficulty of the copy will be greatly reduced. If he hadn't entered the game, causing the difficulty of the dungeon to increase significantly, there might be some lucky ones among these 300 people who could survive and return to the real world. But Shen Jian quickly noticed that the 8 top red-clad ghosts on the map were in a strange position, as if they were surrounding something. The action is a bit fast. It's the player. Surprise flashed in Shen Jian's eyes. If he guessed correctly, these 8 top red-clad ghosts should be catching the first batch of horror game players who came out to find a way to clear the level. Only in this way can we explain why the 8 top red-clothed ghosts are all taking action. Think of this. Shen Jian withdrew his gaze. Look at the skull ghost again. I asked you to call, why are you hesitating? Shen Jian slapped him up. The skull ghost jumped up in pain, and the malice in his eyes resurfaced, but when he met Shen Jian's ferocious gaze, he still succumbed and just begged, Brother, I am a red-clothed level ghost after all, can you give me some help, can I save some face? Can. After hearing Shen Jian's assurance, the skull ghost reluctantly gave out his parents' phone number. Shen Jian dialed the number. Son? Dad is helping you catch those humans. You play first, and we will eat charcoal grilled human steak later. A cold voice sounded. Shen Jian glanced at the skull ghost. The case was solved. Players who entered here to look for the true form of the ghost painting were discovered by the skull ghost, and were hunted down. However, being able to escape from the hands of the top red-clad ghosts for so long is either because of the special puzzle of the ghosts they control or the method of suppressing the ghosts' recovery. This can last for so long. Son. Just thinking about it? The voice on the other end of the phone continued. Shen Jian thought about his tone, and then thought about what the head ghost said about saving face, so he said, "Come down to the first floor of the shopping mall, your son is here, remember, don't make any noise." Finished. Shen Jian hung up the phone. The other end of the phone. Head ghost. The skull ghost, with only one head left, couldn't hold himself together. Damn it! What the hell are you using? There is no kidnapping in every sentence, but there is kidnapping in every sentence, right? You understand the language word game. You can talk. The other side. A group of 4 people were being chased by a group of top red-clad ghosts on the 4th floor of the shopping mall. They were breathing heavily and looking panicked. If I had known that making bait would attract 8 top red-clothed ghosts, I wouldn't have come to die even if I were beaten to death. A young man with the ID Mengda cursed. My intestines are full of regret. As a senior 3-star player, he was selected as the bait during the lottery and led 3 others into the mall, specifically responsible for attracting the attention of the evil ghosts. So that other players can enter the mall and find the true form of the ghost painting. But he never expected it. 3 red-clothed level ghosts and 8 top red-clothed level ghosts actually appeared in this ghost place. Such difficulty is already equivalent to a 4-star dungeon. As a 3-star veteran player, he had never experienced the treatment of being chased by top red shirt players, 8 of them at a time. If it weren't for the special ghost he controlled, he would have finished playing it long ago. Brother Meng, something is wrong. These ghosts seem to have stopped. At this time, a 2-star player reminded. The young man with the ID Mengda turned around immediately when he saw this. I happened to see one of the top red-coated men take out a phone. After holding it to his ear for less than 30 seconds, the phone slipped off. It was like hearing some incredible news. What happened? Heard movement. 7 other top reds gathered around. These are 3 families. They are the parents, grandparents, and grandparents of the skull ghost respectively. Parents of little boy with bruised neck. The parents of a little girl whose face was covered in blood. My son seems to have been kidnapped. Ghosts? Your son is at the red level. In this shopping mall, you can already protect yourself. How could he be kidnapped? Besides, my voice sounds like a human being. Group of ghosts. Humans kidnapped ghosts? It's noisy. Haven't you seen this group of humans being chased by us and running for their lives, like bereaved dogs? Why kidnapping? No, I want to go down and take a look. The parents of the skull ghost had worried faces, gave up chasing other humans, and chose to go downstairs. Let's go down together. This human being is very slippery. It's difficult to catch him in a short time. Besides, it would be a waste of time for the 8 of us to go together. Just leave one behind to chase him and wait for this human ghost to revive. After reaching an agreement, the skull ghost's grandfather stayed. The other 7 top reds all went downstairs. Saw this scene. The 4 players also looked more relaxed. But the situation remains dangerous. Because there is no difference between 8 top reds and 1 top red. They are all destined to die if they are caught up. Then, a ball of water appeared at the feet of the player with the ID Mengda, and he sank into the water with 3 players. When it reappears, we have arrived at the first floor of the mall. Emerged from a puddle of water. This is the supernatural water ghost he controls. Just sprinkle a water stain on the current scene, and you can freely appear anywhere in the mall through supernatural power. With this special supernatural power, he has repeatedly avoided the attacks of top red-clad ghosts. No, this place is not far from Paradise Castle. We must move as soon as possible, otherwise we will be attacked by those 3 little ghosts. The man whose ID is Mengda has not yet finished speaking. Less than 2 meters away, he saw Shenjian, who was stepping on the skull ghost's head, letting the other party grin and appear indifferent. The two looked at each other. This moment, the air seemed to be frozen. The 4 players were also stunned. Their eyes fell on the skull ghost with only one head left. He looked at Shenjian again. He looked at Shenjian's extremely insulting kick again. My throat couldn't help but swallow. Damn it! What's the situation? It must be an illusion to trample a red-clothed level devil under your feet. Is there such a fierce person in Kingshi? Wrong. Kingshi really has a fierce guy. While the 4 players were thinking, 7 top red-clad ghosts also walked down, right behind the 4 players. Then, countless pairs of cold eyes came into focus. For a while, the expressions of the 4 players changed. In the front, there was a mysterious person suppressing the red-clad ghosts, and in the back, there were 7 top red-clad ghosts approaching step by step. The water ghost's supernatural power is cooling down. The atmosphere suddenly became solemn. The 7 top red-clad ghosts also saw the scene of the Paradise Castle being destroyed. They saw the skull ghost being pressed to the ground and being rubbed. Suddenly, twisted grimaces fell on these humans. Humans, you deserve to die. The father of the skull ghost screamed sharply, turned into a blood shadow, and started to attack several players along the way. Players? Damn it! It's not like we stepped on your son. If you really want to take revenge, you should go find the other party. Why are you attacking us? The 4 players were speechless. At the same time, he fled in panic. But it was still a step too late. Compared with the speed of the top red-clad ghosts, the speed of ordinary people without supernatural blessings is just that. In just 2 breaths, the ghost has already arrived behind the 4 players, as if it will put its ghost hands on the players in the next second. Just when several people's faces were ashen, an excited voice sounded, "Do you want to fight for me? I'll give you 1,000 thriller coins once. It's painless and free of charge. You can get it for free first." Hear this. The 4 players were stunned. Substitute? Is this a horror game? Just thinking about it? Shenjian behind him had already grinned, and the black steel rod in his hand suddenly smashed out, in the shocked eyes of the 4 players. Boom! There was a loud bang. The head ghost's father was directly smashed to death on the spot. Fall to the ground. Nothing supernatural. Players. They were dumbfounded. Damn it! Is this a proxy fight? 1,000 horror coins to kill a top red-clad ghost? Damn it! It's worth it. I want a monthly subscription for riding a horse. I want to renew, 6 more times. They shouted. Okay, remember to pay later. Shenjian laughed eerily. He grabbed the skull ghost's head and chased it into the distance. Ghosts? Grass. What happened? What kind of freak is this human being? They grimaced. Turn around and run. If you can kill a parent of the same level as them with 1 stick, you can kill them with 1 stick. This is no longer a battle of magnitude. Sister, your husband was beaten to death? Aren't you going to take revenge? Watching Shenjian chase closer and closer, the other top red-shirt men were no longer calm. They all accused the skull ghost's mother of being cold-hearted. I don't have a husband, thank you. Looking at this scene, the 4 players were still in shock and could not recover for a long time. With this strength, he should be the low-key city leader in Kingshi. It should be right. Although the ID has been changed, he is the only one as strong as Kingshi. Dear me, the top red-clad fierce ghost was killed with a stick. Didn't the supernatural forum only say that he has the strength to rival the Ghost King? This is not comparable to the Ghost King. This is even more fierce than the Ghost King. We come here to escape for 7 days, and others come here to escape from the evil spirits for 7 days, Niobe. The 4 players breathed a sigh of relief with lingering fear. Then I faintly heard a burst of strange laughter coming from the 2nd floor of the shopping mall. There were also screams of fierce ghosts. They shivered. Inexplicably, I imagined a scene in my mind of Shenjian grabbing a head from behind with an excited smile on his face, while the ghost looked frightened and fled for his life. This picture is really unimaginable. The painting style of the boss is really different from theirs. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shiyu Buletin Chigwa. Chapter 379. The Other Side. 6 top red-clad ghosts fled for their lives. A human being who could kill a human similar to them with a stick, even the mother and grandmother, who were skull ghosts, did not dare to take revenge, but kept running away. One can imagine. This stick left a huge psychological shadow on them. This is definitely an existence above the Ghost King level. And he's not just any ordinary Ghost King. After all, the weaker Ghost King also needs to use supernatural powers to kill the top red-clad ghosts. If you want to smash him to death with a stick like Shenjian, even if you have a ghost weapon, you still need to be infinitely close to the abyss level, or even the abyss level of terror. Faced with such an existence, they just want to escape. At this time, the grandfather of the skull ghost also walked down. Seeing the 6 people who had fled to the 3rd floor, the ghost-headed grandfather in funeral clothes was stunned for a moment. What's going on? What is this? Each and every one of them acted like they were running for their lives. What? Is there a monster coming? The head of the buried ghost looked down. I saw a human being chasing after him with a 2-meter-long black steel rod. On the black steel rod, 17 6-pointed stars of scarlet light were twinkling. After looking at it for a long time, I could faintly hear the hoarse sounds of ghosts crying and wolf howling coming from inside. It seemed like thousands of ghosts were screaming. The burial ghost shivered all over. I go. He was so frightened that his voice was distorted. The steps that were originally going down twisted and followed the fleeing team just now. Damn it! This is too scary. He just stared at it for less than 2 seconds, and his consciousness actually felt like it was being eaten by thousands of ghosts. Is it possible that there really is the resentment of 10,000 ghosts in that black steel rod? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. How many cities would have to be slaughtered to get enough of the resentment of 10,000 evil ghosts? How could a human being do this? But at this moment, he still followed and escaped with great care. There was just some doubt in my heart. 7 people just got off, why did 6 people come up? Where is his son? Where is his son who is so old? Then, the burial ghost asked, honey, where is our son? Group of ghosts. A stooped old woman pointed at the black steel rod in Shenjian's hand. Should be in that human stick now. Burial ghost. He was slightly startled. Then he reacted. Grass. There was deep resentment in the eyes of the burial ghost. He let out a sharp roar, don't stop me, I'm going to kill that human being. 3 seconds later, the burial ghost continued to follow the fleeing team. He looked at his wife and daughter-in-law with some embarrassment, why didn't you stop me? Group of ghosts. You are so affectionate as father and son. I still have to perform this act. The other side. Shenjian's eyes lit up. As he followed, he shouted, you guys, don't run away in a hurry. Look, your sons and grandsons are still in my hands. Why don't you save them? Sometimes, if you don't work hard, you don't know how much potential you have. If you don't work hard, how can you know how strong you are? I'm talking about you, the old man wearing funeral clothes. Hearing Shenjian's words, the burial ghost thought about it for a moment and felt that he couldn't just be so cowardly. Although this human being is very strong, we can't kill him in seconds. With the supernatural properties of the morning clothes he wears and his own level of terror, he is still worthy of being a supernatural being compared to humans. At worst, it's not too late to escape even if you lose. Then, the buried ghost turned back decisively. The morning clothes on his body began to reveal a terrifying supernatural power. He rushed towards Shenjian. An old grimace showed a bit of ferocity. His idea is simple, just try one trick. If you can't fight, just run away. See this. Shenjian also smiled. He raised the black steel rod and hit it. Boom. There was a loud bang. The morning clothes were torn directly. The burial ghost flew out upside down. Before he died, he still stared at the pair with disbelieving expressions. As if to say, he actually killed me in seconds. The ghosts were even more frightened. WDNMD. You are a real dog. This encourages others to die. What about the trust between humans and ghosts? If you don't work hard as promised, you don't know how strong you are. If you don't fight hard, you don't know how miserable you will be. The eyes of the ghosts are about to burst. I didn't dare to stay anymore. Two fierce ghosts of the same level within seconds were enough to illustrate how terrifying Shenjian was. No one wants to try it? Shenjian continued to shout. Opportunities are only reserved for those who are prepared. The old man just now was wearing morning clothes. He is old and weak, and he doesn't pay attention to exercise. You can tell at a glance that he is an old man who is about to burst into gold coins. If he can't do it, it doesn't mean that you, who are strong, can't do it either. Especially those two men, don't you need to protect women? I'm sure that if you two attack together, I will kneel down 99% of the time. Shenjian said it very seriously. The ghosts also ran harder. 99% of the time, gods will kneel down. What about the remaining 1%? Eaten by you. If we believed your lies, we wouldn't be ghosts anymore. At the same time, the four men players who survived the disaster also contacted the main force. The two parties soon met at the Paradise Castle. At the same time, standing not far from Paradise Castle, Ji-Haifei and the other two also saw two groups of people gathering over. One is a team of 4. One group is a group of 13 people. The two parties met and looked at Ji-Haifei and the 4 ordinary people with some surprise. Are there any newcomers who dare to come forward these days? Subsequently, a man with steady eyes walked out of the group of 13 people. His ID was Zhou and his level was level 32. He is the one with the highest level among all players. He shook his head and said, "The true identity of the ghost painting has not been found here. Maybe our initial idea was wrong. The clues of the ghost painting were not hidden at the initial location of the pursuer, but appeared randomly in this painting. City." As soon as these words came out, all the players showed gloomy looks. Because if this guess is wrong, it means that they will no longer have any hope of finding out the true identity of Gui Hua. After all, without transportation, unfamiliarity with the road conditions, or even any clues, searching for the true identity of the ghost painting in a painting world that is not inferior to a 5th-tier city is undoubtedly like looking for a needle in a haystack. Don't tell me it's only 7 days. Even if you give them a month, they may not be able to find it. Seeing that morale was getting lower and lower, and even a little desperate, Zhou immediately changed the subject and asked, "Mengda, have you gotten rid of those evil ghosts? I remember that there seemed to be 3 red-clad imps in this Paradise Castle, why are they not there? Already? Hear this." The player with the ID Mengda hesitated to speak, and suddenly didn't know how to explain it. He considered his words for a moment and said, "You may not believe it when I tell you. Those evil ghosts were chased from the 1st floor to the 3rd floor by a man wielding a black steel rod. The screams kept coming and going. Even I was right when I saw them. They felt compassion. Players. They looked weird. A ghost being hunted by a human? And screamed. You're so bragging, don't bring anyone else with you. Zosie's mouth also twitched. Chasing ghosts? I remember that in addition to those 3 red level ghosts, there are 7 or 8 top red level ghosts. Are you saying that you saw a human being who is not a relative, risking the resurrection of his own ghost? Helped you drive away those evil spirits, so you could escape safely. Others also looked confused. Just tell me how you escaped. Why are you making up such a story? Make us laugh? Then this is too cold a joke. In the horror world, they have never encountered such enthusiastic players. I would rather risk my own evil ghost's revival than help drive away the evil ghost. It's not like they are relatives or friends. Besides, we paid and the other party said that Diddy hired someone to help him kill a top-notch red-shirt one with 1,000 thriller coins. No bargaining. Players. Crazy. Couldn't this man be chased by evil spirits until he went insane? 1,000 horror coins help kill a top red coat. Why on earth do you think you are a top red shirt ghost? Cabbage on the roadside. 1,000 horror coins can't even buy the most rubbish supernatural prop. Oh, by the way, you also know this person. The player with the ID men said mysteriously. Because our Kingshi is a small city, we don't have enough supernatural knowledge, but we still have a 4-star player who is famous in the supernatural forum. Hear this. Everyone frowned. Are there 4-star players in Qing City? You are not talking about the big guy whose ID is King Yama. At this time, one player said suspiciously. As soon as these words came out, all the players in the audience were shocked. King Yama himself. This is definitely the most famous player in Qing City. His status in the paranormal forum is equal to that of the number 1 paranormal person today, or even surpasses it. Especially in terms of reputation, no one can match it. If it were him, it would indeed be possible to do this. Could it be? Think of this. Zosei could no longer hold back his excitement and said, have you met that great god? That's right. In the eyes of all players looking forward to it. The player with the ID Mengda nodded slowly. Next moment. The eyes of all the players seemed to have light again. Morale, which had been low, was rekindled. It is an expectation of hope. If the great god was there, they might still have a chance. Just thinking about it? A rush of footsteps sounded on the second floor of the shopping mall. At the same time, there was also the scream of a female ghost. No, don't hit me with that thick and long thing, I will die. The female ghost's horrified scream sounded upstairs. Immediately afterwards, it was the sound of the female ghost falling down and trying her best to get up again, scraping against the ground. GGG, your father, your mother, your husband, and your son are all dead. Even if you scream, no one will come to save you. Now just stand there and let me deal with you. A strange and powerful laughter sounded. The voice sounded like a human voice. Heard this movement? All players were stunned. A picture has emerged in their minds. A poor and helpless female ghost was chased by a human. Her family members were killed one after another, leaving her alone and running for her life alone. She accidentally fell and was chased by the human. Come up. She could only retreat desperately on the ground and cry, trying to get this evil thief to let go of her innocence. The abominable thief refused to allow it and approached step by step. I want to bully this female ghost. Think of this. Everyone shivered with excitement. He wouldn't be so perverted. This is impossible. Maybe they are overthinking it. No, do not want. Immediately afterwards, another shrill scream sounded. The mall suddenly returned to calm. A few minutes later, Shen Jian walked down with a satisfied look on his face. 3 red clothed level, 8 top red clothed level ghosts, can be considered a small gain. The most important thing is that the next location has been refreshed. Doing the math, this should be the chaser lineup on day 4. There is only one red dot. But the terror level has reached the Ghost King level. If this trend continues, he might actually be able to create a star lineup composed entirely of Ghost Kings on the 6th day. Think of this. The smile on Shen Jian's face became even brighter. Seeing an extra group of players in Paradise Castle, he looked slightly startled, but then he came to his senses. This should be the player who came in to find the true identity of the ghost painting. There are 17 players in total. The highest level is 32 and the lowest is 10. No wonder ordinary people have to participate. When ordinary people get involved, it really adds to the chaos. At this time, Zhou Ci, who had the highest level in the audience, walked out. "Master, nice to meet you." Shen Jian tilted his head. "How happy are you?" "Zhou Ci. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace." Author, Shi Yubuletin Chigua. Chapter 380. How happy are you? Hearing these words from the great god, Zhou Ci fell into silence for a moment. He hesitated and said, "Very happy." "Then you are happy too early." Shen Jian shrugged, glanced at the players around him, and asked, "How long have you been out? Have you found any clues about Gui Hua's true identity?" Hear this. Zhou Ci ignored Shen Jian's teasing and sighed, "No. Because it was a special copy that was suddenly teleported in, there was no record at all in the past. We couldn't find a way to clear the level in a short period of time. We could only follow the clues given by the game to eliminate the locations of the pursuers one by one. We designed to lure away the door opener who was the first pursuer, and rushed into his room to search for a long time, but we couldn't find any useful clues. It's the same in this shopping mall. We've searched all the places where paintings might be hidden, but we haven't found any trace of ghost paintings. Speaking of which," Zhou Ci's frown deepened. "We speculate that the ghost paintings may not be in these locations, but appear randomly anywhere in the world in the paintings." Hear this. Shen Jian was thoughtful. "Search the original place where the pursuer stayed to look for clues. There is no problem with the logic. Because he thinks the same way. It's just that what the player wants is to lure away the evil ghost and search for clues alone. What he wanted to do was to pry open Li Gui's mouth and ask for clues himself. Both methods are almost the same. Only, if according to what the players said, the ghost paintings are not in these places, then it will be too difficult to find them. Even the ghost realm cast by the ghost eye cannot search every place in detail. What's more, the ghost eye pulls the crotch every day. Once the ghost realm is used too much, it is likely to fall into dormancy for several days. It is difficult to rely on ghost domains to investigate a city. But soon." Shen Jian straightened his expression. He fell into a misunderstanding. The other party couldn't find it because they were only looking for Li Gui's initial land. If the clues of the ghost paintings only exist in the memories of these evil ghosts, then naturally they will not be found no matter how hard they look. But he is different. His goals were clear from the beginning. Pry open the mouths of these evil spirits and ask for clues from them. The top red code level devil doesn't know. It doesn't mean that the Ghost King doesn't know. It doesn't mean that the Abyss level ghosts don't know. Think of this. Shen Jian's eyes suddenly focused on the red dot on the map. That is a Ghost King. It is also where the clues lie. After nodding slightly, Shen Jian came to the player with the ID Mengda. "Brother, it's time to settle the expenses. This is a small business and I don't accept credit." Shen Jian raised his eyebrows. Didi has provided services 6 times, and I will give you one for free, plus a burial ghost that hunts you down, and 7,000 horror coins. Players. Damn it. Is this really not made up? Didi's calling service, is there such a business? They were dumbfounded. 1,000 horror coins help to deal with a top-notch red-clad ghost. This is no different than giving it away for free. No wonder this great god has such prestige in the supernatural forum. If it were them, they would definitely lick it. Okay. 1,000 thriller coins can save one more life, so the deal is worth it. Mengda and other 4 players also collected 7,000 horror coins after being stunned at the beginning. Player Mengda transfers 10,000 thriller coins to you. Shen Jian's eyes were slightly surprised. The eyes looking at the 4 people became more and more satisfied. Then he turned around and said, if you encounter a fierce ghost attack, just come to me. A red-clothed ghost will cost you 1,000 scare coins. If you are a red-coated ghost or below, you will not be accepted. If you encounter more than 10 red-coated ghosts, I will give you a 20% discount. Also, you can just pass this news back to the Supernatural Forum. I am a kind-hearted person and I would never see anyone being attacked by a ghost. As soon as these words came out, the eyes of all the players in the audience became even more intense. Everyone looked at Shen Jian as if they were looking at relatives. No. This is my dad. 1,000 horror coins help them deal with a red-clad ghost. There is a 20% discount for larger quantities. Besides your dad, who else would dare to risk the resurrection of such a evil ghost, just to earn those 1,000 horror coins? This is clearly God thinking about them. Let them use Didi's calling service without any psychological burden. For these looks. The smile on Shen Jian's face became wider. He doesn't know whether others make money or not, but he makes money with his own blood. After chatting for a while, Shen Jian is preparing to go to the location of the pursuer on the 4th day. After learning this news, the players were a little stunned. That is a ghost king. Is the great god so reckless? To this, Shen Jian said, don't get me wrong, I'm just trying to influence that ghost. Everyone. They couldn't stand it any longer. Probation. I'm afraid your influence is not very serious. Seeing Shen Jian walking away with excitement on his face, all the players twitched their mouths and hesitated to speak. I always feel that the master's painting style is different from what we imagined. Who says it isn't? I always feel that the boss seems to be more interested in the ghost than the main mission. Holy shit, do you feel the same way? I'm even a little suspicious. The boss said he would help us beat people. Isn't he just looking for trouble? Nonsense, who in this world is willing to hit a ghost? The eyed man with the ID ZOCI suddenly came up to Ji Haifei and the others, and lowered his voice, I heard that you came here with the great god. Do you know each other in the real world? Dad, no, the great god has always followed the path of the great god. Are they all so wild? Several people glanced at him. Cai Minmin thought of the scene where Shen Jian forced Bixian to change clothes. Ji Haifei thought of the scene where Shen Jian treated the ghost baby like a dog and locked the opponent's neck with shackles. Huang Yuzhen thought of the scene where Shen Jian pulled out the peeping ghost, slapped his vagina wildly, and then teased him in front of the ghost scene. Boss Huang thought of what Shen Jian had blasted 10 private room doors in a row, leaving the door opener in despair. Immediately, the 4 of them said in unison, maybe, it's wilder than you think. Soon. Following the guidance of the map, Shen Jian headed all the way to the location of the red dot. On the road, the players are still a little nervous. After all, there is only one red dot this time. But the level of danger is the highest. Because it was a ghost king. Looking at the horror world, the Ghost King is already a terrifying existence standing in the first echelon of the pyramid. Among the current player group, no one has ever heard of anyone being able to escape unscathed in front of the Ghost King. Even Shen Jian, who had vague signs of becoming the first supernatural person, was only confirmed to have a supernatural power comparable to that of a Ghost King, but it was not clearly stated that Shen Jian could directly suppress a Ghost King. The two are two completely different concepts. The former has the ability to escape from the Ghost King. The latter has the ability to repel a Ghost King. Because of this, Shen Jian failed. No player present can escape the pursuit of the Ghost King. At this time, jingle bell, jingle bell. In the quiet queue, an unexpected cell phone ringtone rang. Everyone was shocked. They all checked whose phone it was. In the painted world that is completely isolated from real-world communication means, the ringing of a mobile phone means that a supernatural event has occurred. Someone triggered Li Gui's killing pattern. Be mine. The bespectacled man with the ID Zhou Ci raised his phone with an ugly expression. As can be seen, a series of strange incoming calls were displayed above. The number is a series of identical digits, 444444. On the way here, I saw this string of numbers written on the wall at the corner. I just glanced at it and remembered the numbers, and then, the call came. Zhou Ci looked gloomy. This is so damn annoying. He saw a string of numbers on the roadside wall, and it was the same number 4. Unless he didn't look at it, he would definitely read it in his mind. Once read out, the killing pattern is triggered. How to prevent this? This is too easy to fall into. Nah. Are you being tricked? I seem to have seen it too. I even looked at it. Whose phone can be set up to be so easy to read? Similarly, there is basically no reason for anyone passing by this road not to be tricked. The players were in an uproar. This string of numbers is written in such large numbers and is so easy to remember. Unless you are blind, you will definitely fall into this trap. Shen Jian's face was expressionless. I sensed the source of yin qi. A bit of surprise flashed in his eyes. The source of this call came from a fierce ghost with a very strong yin qi reaction. Conservative estimate, Ghost King. Shen Jian glanced at their current location, which was very close to the red dot on the map. Basically, if you walk another 100 meters, you will coincide with the red dot on the map. Combined with the judgment of the yin qi reaction behind the supernatural phone call, the Ghost King he was looking for was probably the source ghost behind the supernatural phone call. Catch. Shen Jian said something. Zhou Ci? No. This is a supernatural phone call, from a ghost. Is it really okay to be so casual? He looked at Shen Jian in disbelief. The less trouble, the better. For most paranormal incidents, the most conservative solution is to ignore them. Especially supernatural events such as supernatural phone calls. If you don't answer, something may or may not happen. But if you take it, something will happen. See this. Shen Jian grabbed the phone. Connected directly. Moxie Moxie. The source ghost on the other end of the phone was silent for a moment. It seems that I don't understand what this bird language means. But soon. He spoke again, and a dark and cold voice sounded. In 1 minute, you'll be dead. Hear this. All the players present turned pale. Take a look. Sure enough, something happened. This is the most common form of cursed supernatural beings. Once you are cursed, you will die according to the curse. It is a murderous law that leads to death. If he can't stop it, even a 4-star player will die violently. However, next moment, Shen Jian spoke, that's it? Don't say more. How did I die? You can't do that. In this way, I will tell you a way to die, and you will use it to curse me. I have suffered from severe gynophobia since I was a child. The more beautiful female ghosts are, the more likely they are to scare me. If you directly cursed me to meet a dozen female ghosts, I might be scared to death. If it doesn't work, you can directly curse me to find the true form of the ghost painting, and maybe you can make me die on the way to learn the scriptures. Shen Jian groaned with a smile. Players. Phone ghost? God curses you to find a beautiful female ghost. You think I am a wish ghost? I am cursing you, do you understand? He was choked to death. Hang up the phone directly. Be prepared to wait for the death of this human being. As a ghost king, he is not very capable in frontal supernatural combat. But as long as he is given time to claim his life, even a ghost king of the same level can be cursed to death by his supernatural power. It's no use even if you don't answer the phone. When the supernatural influence reaches a certain stage, the call he broadcasts will ring in the other person's mind. It's hard not to think about it. And the curse's supernatural power can be superimposed. If it is superimposed hundreds of times, the ghost king will be cursed to death. To this end, his residence was chosen in an extremely private place. Don't worry about being called to your door by the other party. 1 minute later, the phone ghost prepares to make a second call. Continue to curse the second person. Then, the phone is ringing. It wasn't him who dialed someone else's number, but someone called in. The number on the caller ID was the one he had just dialed. He slowly typed a question mark. The call was answered. Taizi, you can't do this. If you don't tell me how to die, how can I know how to die? Shen Jian teased. While walking around on both sides of the street, as if looking for something, he has arrived at the location where the red dots on the map overlap. But this ghost king was not seen. Phone ghost? Damn it! You're not dead yet? Hearing this familiar voice, he was stunned. To tell you the specific method of death, it is a method that only ghosts with a lower level of terror would use. The more real it is, the stronger the supernatural power. But he is already the king of ghosts. All it takes is one curse and the other person will die. However, this human being stepped on the horse and survived. Then, a cold and roaring voice sounded again, you are already dead. Just last night, your belly was opened, your heart was slashed, your throat was cut, and even your limbs were dismembered. After your death, your spirit will be gone crying, stained red. The words fell. An extremely terrifying supernatural force spread quietly. The phone ghost hung up the phone again. This time. That should work. The thought had occurred for less than a minute. The phone rang again. Shen Jian's joking voice sounded again. I didn't expect it. I'm not dead. You should take this spiritual tablet home and give it to your horse. Phone ghost? I'm crazy. His face turned dark. This human being has so little quality. I don't even understand how bad it is for my family. Human, you have gone too far. Have your qualities been eaten by dogs? He was furious. He gritted his teeth. On the other end of the phone, Shen Jian stared in one direction and grinned. Then I'm really sorry, I really don't have the qualities. Something strange is coming? Fortunately, I am the king of hell of the 10th palace. Author, Shi Yu Buletin Chi Gua. Chapter 381. Faced with Shen Jian's sincerity, the phone ghost became a little silent. He scolded this human being for his lack of quality. Most people would object. In this way, he occupies the moral high ground and can point fingers at Shen Jian. But the human racer admitted it. He admitted that he had no qualities. Grass. You are so shameless. On the other end of the phone ghost was so angry that he was shaking all over. He is a majestic ghost king, but he can't do anything to a human being. Then he could only continue, then you can't curse others. It is a virtue not to bring harm to your family. Oh, I have no morals either. Shen Jian talked eloquently. The moment the other party was angry, he had already noticed the fluctuation of yin qi. This ghost king is really stubborn. In a city full of evil spirits, he actually hid his residence in a ghost realm. And it seems that some special methods were used to eliminate traces of himself. It seems to be just to prevent people from coming to your door. Think about it. Shen Jian continued, but I didn't scold your family. The mother I am talking about is not the same as the mother you imagined. The mother I am talking about is just a fictional character created to vent my anger. It does not mean that your mother is gone just because I say she is gone. I have no grievances against your mother. Although I may take action if we encounter her, at least for now, I have respect for your mother. Do you understand? Shen Jian explained patiently. The phone ghost's brows relaxed a little. Although it felt a little weird, it was fine as long as he didn't curse. So he nodded and said, I seem to understand. That'll be easy. Shen Jian grinned. Your horse exploded, your soul is crying, and your grave has been raised. Phone ghost. I'm crazy. He broke his guard. You. He gritted his teeth. I was so angry that my teeth itched. Even with Shen Jian's explanation, this human being really deserves to die. Human, if you can, just tell me your name. On the other end of the phone, the cold voice of the phone ghost rang. The supernatural curse has no effect on this human being. This has happened before. When he cursed some powerful Ghost King level ghosts, he often encountered similar things. In this case, he usually gives up. Even if he fights to the death, he will get the name of this Ghost King in advance, or simply give him a hard curse. As long as you answer the phone more than 10 times, the supernatural influence will penetrate deeply into your brain and reach the point where you have no choice but to answer the phone. But in the current situation, this human being would naturally not tell him his name. He could only choose the latter. Think of this. The phone ghost is ready to hang up. Redial. However, on the other end of the phone, Shen Jian had already spoken, Are you going to curse me? My name is Shen Jian. Phone ghost? I heard this human being reveal his name. He was confused. What? In this case, why would this human being dare to blow up his own name? After a slight shock, the phone ghost laughed sinisterly. When he was about to curse Shen Jian spoke again, Is one name enough? Do you want my birthday and horoscope? Phone ghost? There was a moment of silence. He said faintly, If you are willing to give, I can also add it. Add it, otherwise it will be boring. Then, do you want the address? You don't need an address. How about I mail you some of my hair, skin, or blood? I heard that the power of this curse can be more precise. At this time, the phone ghost already looked confused and dumbfounded. Is this human being really not afraid of death? Very good. If this is the case, then he will help the other party. With his name and birth date, he could pinpoint Shen Jian. The effect of the supernatural curse will also be maximized. Even ghost kings of the same level cry for their parents when faced with this level of supernatural attacks. Think of this. The phone ghost's body was filled with yin energy. The curse was cast immediately. That moment, a terrifying supernatural force descended upon Shen Jian. Shen Jian looked up. Then a smile appeared on his face. Got you, said. The 7 ghost eyes on the back of Shen Jian's hand revived. A flash of scarlet light flashed. The next second, at the end of the street, a house suddenly appeared. Shen Jian kicked him in. Don't move, crack down on pornography. Looking at this scene, all the players were stunned. Was shocked. Some players didn't realize until now that the master was looking for traces of the opponent. But in this way, you will injure the enemy 1,000 times and injure yourself 800. A Ghost King level ghost casts a supernatural curse after getting its name and birth date, which is far more terrifying than normal people can imagine. Great God, can you withstand this supernatural attack? I took a few glances. They are even more confused. Because they found that Shen Jian didn't seem to be affected. He rushed into the Ghost King's home with excitement on his face. They were also confused. The other side. The phone ghost who had just cast the curse suddenly felt a great terror coming over him. His consciousness seemed to have entered a gray world. I saw a pair of dark eyes. His eyes moved slightly. The phone ghost immediately started wailing. The skin was constantly chapped, and his head seemed to be crushed by an invisible force. He knelt on the ground and kept hitting his head, as if something was stirring his brain. Not good. This is a trap. That human being is a terrifying being that is essentially beyond ghosts and gods. His curse didn't hurt at all. Instead, the other party noticed his presence. Danger. He is in danger. The phone ghost struggled to get up. Can't stay in this place any longer. Otherwise, the other party may come over at any time. He must find a new residence. However, the next second, the door to the room was kicked open. An energetic voice sounded, "Don't move, crack down on pornography." Phone ghost? Damn it. There's not even a city defense force here, it's just a piece of shit. Not to mention, I am single, and I only have some hard drives hidden at home. This level is not enough to be a sign of being banned from pornography. Think of this. The phone ghost looked up in confusion. I happened to see Shen Jian kicking open the door and showing him a sinister smile. How does it feel to be cursed? Phone ghost. Hear this. He was slightly startled. Then he showed a look of horror. Damn it. You just followed the phone line to find it? So fast. You. The phone rang with eyes wide open. Too scared to speak. The scene just now made him understand how terrifying Shen Jian was. In the entire world of the painting, there is no one who can compare with this human being in terms of personality. Not even comparable. This is not a level of existence. Then. He knelt down in shame. Brother, spare my life. Shen Jian looked at the phone ghost in front of him with interest. Think about it. See your performance. The phone ghost was delighted. Just at this time, the players who heard nothing happened also stepped into the house nervously. Keep swallowing saliva. Eyes alert. This is the home of a ghost king. If something unexpected happens, they won't even have a place to escape. And if Shen Jian loses, they will be chased to death by this ghost king. Might as well go into the house and play it by ear. At least it must be guaranteed that Shen Jian can be taken away. At this moment, the player whose ID is Mengda is extremely important. The water ghost he controls can create several teleportation points. If something goes wrong, he can directly sink Shen Jian into the water and take him out of here. Then, a group of players came to the room that was kicked open. I saw Shen Jian standing there. The phone ghost knelt on the ground. Players. Phone ghost. Human. Seeing the human who broke into his house, the phone ghost's body surged with yin energy, and his face became ferocious and twisted. How could he allow these bugs to enter his house? Is it because his reputation has faded, or are these humans too arrogant? The phone ghost stood up and said in a cold tone. Brother, these humans have interrupted my conversation with you. Give me a few minutes and I will deal with them. As soon as these words came out, the faces of all the players turned pale. They all showed horrified expressions. Shen Jian said expressionlessly, "They are with me." The phone ghost's expression changed, and he stretched out his hands enthusiastically. It turns out we are all brothers. You must have worked hard all the way here. Come on, sit around, welcome all brothers to my humble home. If there is any lack of hospitality, I hope you will forgive me. Players. No. The speed of your face change is too fast. The bespectacled man with the ID's OCI looked at a Ghost King level ghost and smiled, shaking hands with him enthusiastically, as if he wanted to be brothers and work together eagerly. He was completely stunned. He is a 3-star player, but he dare not say that he can escape even when facing a half-step red-clothed level devil. Now. But there was a Ghost King entertaining him warmly. He felt confused as he felt like you're welcome, treat this place as your home. At the same time his face turned red. He glanced at Shen Jian secretly. Everyone present knew that the reason why the Ghost King in front of him was so polite was because of Shen Jian's words, we are on the same side as him. The fruit of face is so terrifying. God, awesome. Okay, let me ask you something. Whether you are okay or not depends entirely on your answer. Shen Jian said. Do you know where the ghost paintings are? The phone ghost was stunned for a moment. I know. Hear this. Everyone showed excitement. Even Shen Jian's eyes flashed with surprise. He thought the phone ghost's terror level was too low and he didn't know about it. Tell me more about it. The phone ghost thought about his words. Master Gihua is in Lost Paradise now, but he has fallen into dormancy. I heard that he was deceived by a damn scumbag outside. Therefore, Master Gihua rushed out of the picture scroll world and went to work with the Lu family. Got into a fight, came back injured, and never heard from him again. Because of this incident, the picture scroll world is in chaos, because no one can control the picture scroll world except Master Gihua. The horror game has usurped part of the authority and wants to overlap it with the real world. I get angry when I talk about this. The scumbag who is the culprit had better not appear in front of me, otherwise I will kill him. The phone ghost was furious. He just pointed at the culprit and cursed. Shen Jian.